I'll go.
Okay.
Hello, 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 and welcome to a very special edition of Three Amigos Ink and Splatter Open Mic. This evening, actually this afternoon, whichever time it is for you, could be evening too, depends on where you are in the world. We are actually going to do a Halloween edition. We're going to read the submissions the poetry that was submitted to the Three Amigos Ink and Splatter Halloween magazine. Um, so we hope you enjoy. The first poem is titled Riding the Toasty Foot by Stuart Irving Marshall. I'm dreamin' and schemin', flying high in smoky, helly skies. Got my Timex hourglass halfway past fumes. My skull on brimstone, pedal looking for get to go. Then I'm gone, a gun cocked and ready, rocking steady on a toasted foot. I toasted what? Toasted toes on toasted instep, corn and callus looking like dark molasses. One day I was just minding my own business when I heard a ruckus, a scream, and a moan. When I went over to check it out, there was a left-handed freak with terrible gout. He said, "Take off my foot, 'cause it's a pain in my side, and I got mechanical magical power so you can ride. And here's a gun, bullet still inside, and an hourglass to tell the time as you glide." So I removed its foot like I want, and it was easy as pie. It just came free. And with that the magic words, up, up, and away. I'm flying the toasty foot until this day. The next poem is titled Devil in the Red Sea by Geraldine O'Dowd. And interestingly enough, Geraldine's initials spell God. She likes to point that out quite a bit. Geraldine is an awesome poet. So is Stuart. I see me, devil in a red sea, wild, but not yet free. I'm held down and I want to roam the earth, create chaos, punish those bastards who punished me. It's just a waiting game. It's always there in the back of his head. Give me till the stroke of midnight and I will play. Ironic, my initials are God, XOXOX. And the next poem is titled Telltale Signs of Insanity. Telltale Signs of Insanity by Rudra Prasad Warrior. Anger, they say, is a pretty strong emotion. Uncontrolled, it has wrecked many excursions. Does it all have a side that is beneficial, or is it the only lead actions mechanical, and later on to guilt and tears penetral? Annoyance is a sharp feeling of irritation. Watch out, it could lead to altercation. There's really no point in getting hot under the collar, and though I know dealing with fools can make you want to holler, to get things done, you've got to hide your vexation. Then there are these feelings of hostility. Get rid of them. They might cause quite a calamity. You might find virtue in being pugnous and combative, but, you may feel virtue in being pious and combative, but they only lead to thoughts and actions annihilative, anger, annoyance, hostility. Your telltale signs of insanity by Rudra.
All right. Am I up next?
That is true. It's your turn.
All right. This next poem is called Michael, and it is by Michael Lacey. I'm Michael Myers in a Jason Voorhees mask. Chainsaw salad with blades open, my chains flawed savage, touched by an angel once. So I sliced that bitch in half past her halo's noodle cabbage. And if this is cutting down your picket of fences, then I'm sorry for your brains that I'm about to batter. With a Louisville slugger, I'm knocking every little rock at a mouth to shatter. And if I'm a rapper, then it's only around the neck of what matters. With a can of gas labeled Liquid Fred Savage and a lighter that says, "Did I do that because family matters?" So just before I blow this up, I'm about to down it, like a bipolar drunk with whiskey dreams all around him. Blacking out with a side of red before I drown ya, coming back around to the sound of alarms bells pounding. Waking you up so I can see how your look changes as I saw all of your body limbs off from different angles. My tilted head sets in like Crete to the 90th degree. It's the last thing you will ever see, but I'll pray for both of our souls down on bended knee. And this next...
Oh,
Oh,
Sorry. And the next one is titled Demon, right?
The next one I have is by Usha. It's untitled.
Cool.
All right, by Usha and Shrinivasu. Shrinivasun, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to properly say your last name, Usha. Anyway, all right. Inside flesh and muscle I lie. I am the frame on which they rely. Flesh, muscle, and eye maketh a person cometh alive. With the heart beating in my cage, the lung breathing in my haze, as I hold them together, none could knock me down with the feather. When I shoot, flexing my phalanges to boot. Calcified strength am I, none can call me a lie. As I lie waiting for my adversaries, like rickets, scurvy, and beriberi, feed me with milk and ragi and cereals with fiber. I will strongly support you with great caliber. And the next one is called Demon by Ruth Doyle. I am a demon up on high, shot my gun and landed in the sky. Now I can shout out loud, 'cause now there's blood in the cloud. For on my way up here did slaughter quite a few, now going back to earth to see what more I can do. Till I get back down to hell with all my trophies wild, and tell my demon family, see I'm much more than a child.
That was a good one, Ruth. The next poem is Untitled, and it's by Max Myers. All right, so I've only one leg and one arm, so what? Just look at my lovely mug. A mug any mother would love. Scary, you say? How so? With eyes like custard pies with cherry atop, a nose like a plowshare, and these even teeth accentuated by such ruby lips. What is not to love? Okay, so I'm lacking a little flesh, but hey, nobody's perfect. Just wait till you see me at your door with your trick or treat bag in hand. I promise you will pop your pants with the very first glance. Yep, you'll be wanting me. So, look and drool. That's what I do. I lay here looking at you. Boo, ha, scare you. I bet scared you. Remember, I will be waiting on you. I'll be waiting on you where you least expect to see me. That was a good one. Thank you, Max. The next poem is titled Witch's Song by Michael Falls. I should have known when the air went cold under your spells, so I didn't know. Seasons of frost and the hours are lost. Long after you're gone, I can still hear the song. Rings in my head like a voice of the dead, enraptured in sound, standing true in your stead. Now belong, I've been captured in song to which I have been cursed listening, and so I must sing along. Choice isn't mine, beaten this time. Your witch's song takes over my mind. Try to escape, but the feeling abates. The tune I hear says I choose my fate. And you're up next, Alicia.
All right, next up I have October's Demise, poem by Ruth Doyle and Marie Moldovan. Right. On the 31st day of October's demise, the sun will set and the moon will rise. Someone will get a nasty surprise, cackles the witch from the moonlit skies. I've got something to say to you tonight. Prepare yourself for a ghastly fright, for everything comes out on hallowed night, including the straw man stitched in stone, warning you to ready for the unknown. Not forgetting demons, ghosts, and ghouls that roam in search of disaster's fools, who've left their right and tidy home to yoke and joke with eggs thrown, trading treats for prankster favors, especially craving those with bad behaviors. Heed my warning and say your prayers, 'cause if you twinkle the trickster gleam on the night of Halloween, when darkness waxes and the moon is on the wane, you'll attract zombies with your zesty aim, 'cause the spoiled rotten are tasty game, and one bite of their bratty brain drives the dead bloody sane. So do yourself a rightly favor and avoid being the trickster demon's saver. And next up we have Witch Witch by Stuart Irving Marshall. Where did the witch come from with her long black flowing hair? One minute they're not there, the next minute they're there, with brooms and familiars not so familiar to me. The Wicked Witch Hamilton is all I can see. It's just thinking about all that black cat hair. I wonder if she wears black underwear. The witch, not the cat. I'm not that glitched. I'm just curious from seeing Samantha on Bewitched. And the genie from Genie, is she not a witch? Is there really a difference? Which is which?
I enjoyed that one. Okay, so the next poem is Untitled by Michael Taylor. It was around midnight, maybe a little after. The moon hung like a veil, even in the smile, pitch black sky, wide eye appearing before me. A nightmarish scene of beauty and death intertwined. White as a ghost, I stood there, flesh and bone frozen into place, soul heating out the door. Separated by my rational thoughts, denuded from even a scream, I stood there in complete horror, and it was only the start of Halloween. And the next poem is also entitled and by Michael Taylor as well. Devil's night has arrived like a mad fist to nowhere to hide. Unlocked from a cage of blood and human bones, this night free to roam. Human souls to collect, they must pay a debt. You can't run, you can't hide. You can try, but the list has already been set. There's no way to deny what has arrived. Just kiss your soul goodbye. The strokes of the hand at the midnight hour. Who will survive? Who will come out alive? Devil's night has arrived. And you're up next, Alicia.
All right. Next up is another one by Michael Taylor, Untitled. When I was a child, I looked in my closet in the middle of the night. I got a fright, a three-eyed demon with countless red eyes coming up from behind. She gave me a smile that sent shivers down to the depths of my soul. I gave a scream, but it was as if my voice ran away to where I don't know. I tried to flip the switch, but no light came. I was left alone with the demons created from a past life that was no longer mine. My mask slipped. I was one of her kind. I was no longer afraid. I started to live my life in a new way. My new life in a way. Next up is a poem by Stuart Irving Marshall, and it's called Zombies Are People Too. 6 is my lucky number. Luck be a zombie tonight. I roll the 12-sided D&D die twice, and it comes up snake eyes like 6 times. Why is a die called a die? Why did I die on the 6th of June, 1966? Falling 6 flights down an elevator shaft. Right on, am I a racist to aliens because I'm in green face, or do I look unnaturally look like this? If 6 is my lucky number, I must have woke up from a deep slumber because I'm confused more than abnormal. I stumble and fall. Not because it's easy, but because it's hard. Didn't a president say that? I don't sing or dance, so don't expect me to do Thriller from memory. I don't know why 6. Someone asked me to pick a number between 1 and 10, and I guess it sounded like 6. That's the first thing that came to my...
I like that one. He just left it off.
Good. Yeah. It's a good one.
And the next poem is Untitled by Geraldine O'Dowd. My dad, before I old enough to go trick-or-treating, we used to carve out turnips as a lantern, make sausage rolls like candles, and we would sit in our greenhouse and read spooky stories, Hugs, and one of our favorites, The Professor's Teddy Bear. Hugs by Geraldine O'Dowd. Release Me is the next poem by Michael Lacey. You frown at the glad bags I keep down next to my bloody rags in my freezer, so smile big, because we're deported straight to hell. This is me, a twisted face. This mask barely can hold in, up and around. This demonic phase, my wrath of a face, pocket full of evil, spell it backwards. I'm letting you live. It's a gift from a faceless mask, born out of darkness, trapped in your own drawings. Release me. And you're up next, Alicia.
All right. Next up is Untitled, and it is by Ruth Doyle. This is the night of Halloween, wherein the fire demons can be seen. All black souls do rot in the fire and come out to play in numerous attire. They roam around looking for a soul, especially if you have lost control. And if you don't want the flames to consume, if you go out of your safety of your room, there is a special prayer you recite if you're going out in the night. Please keep me in one piece, then on this night I will not decease. And next up is a poem by Thomas Halloran, and it is called A Vampire Wakes. The living I do loathe, my home an empty grove, my heart darkens and death hearkens, gravel in my soul, sinking forever low, buried under the snow, beneath the frozen loam, deep in my catacomb. I rise as if alive, I sing to bring, emptying everything, up to the world above, unfinished work, unfinished love. My appearance pale, maybe even a little frail, my hunger is strong, but it won't be long. I seek warmth, the fire within, the kind of warmth the only blood can bring. My plan is simple, my bite is my gift. If you are lucky, your death will be swift. Mary, quiet your crow down. Sheesh. I'm just kidding.
It's got a mind of its own. What can I do? Wants to speak, must have liked it. Just really liked it. Was okay. Said, great poem.
All right. Next one I've got is by Stuart Irving Marshall, and it's called This Ain't Oz. This ain't Oz, and I ain't the wonderful wizard. The heat is on, the bellboy is a lizard. Fire and brimstone is the featured band. They can light it up like no other band can. So don't you worry about room service. We're open 24 forever, so why get upset or nervous? No justice, no peace, you'll not get either ever. So get comfortable or not, we've got sunscreen if you forgot. Just lay low and be at ease. The heat's on blast so you don't freeze. And if it smells bad, here's some Febreze. I hope you brought an inhaler, 'cause one tends to wheeze. If you have any trouble, just give us a ring. We don't have very much, so you probably won't get a thing. We're not very big and we're not snobby, and we're located in room 666, Hotel Hell Lobby.
How does a scarecrow like me end up with his head on a door? Easy. I make a lot of terrible decisions. It's a no-brainer. And so am I.
Aha, good one, Scarecrow.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of personality up in here today. So the next poem is To Dream or Not to Dream. At first I thought I was dreaming, and wait, I'm going to back that one up. I totally forgot who it was by. To Dream or Not to Dream by Max Myers. At first I thought I was dreaming. Then as I collected my wits about me, I realized in fact was not, though I do so wish I had been, as the terror that engulfed me no one should ever have to endure. I heard the sound of a motor, not likely any I had ever heard before, but a screeching, grinding, meshing of metal that was defining, and so intense it was nearly paralyzing. Then came the crushing as whatever was mashed against the house, splintering the walls of the far side of the house with a force that not only shook the house, but cracked and shifted the roof, buckling the doors as large pieces of the ceiling were falling upon everything. Then it all went silent, deafening silent, like the silence when you go underwater silent. My mind was running wild with fear and at the same time deciding what had just happened and what to do next. I was by this time sure a craft of some sort had descended upon the house, intentionally or otherwise. My heartbeat was the only sound I heard until the screeching, grinding started up. Only this time I was quieter and could tell it was due to something open on the craft. Something had opened. That was followed with a screaming voice that made the hair on my neck stand straight up. Ooh, otherworldly. It was, and to say menacing would be kind. It was a sound out of hell, and I knew it was anything but friendly. But that time, I was planning to get up from the floor where the impact had knocked me and get the hell out of where, and then the sound of heavy footsteps could be heard coming into the badly damaged house. I could tell by the vibrations with each step it was large. Ooh, wood splintered under the weight of the creature. As it drew nearer, I gathered the covers and hid beneath them, next to the disheveled bed and tried not to move a muscle. I held my breath and waited. Then there was the screech again, the blood-curdling, deafening scream. From whatever was there was in debris. I was in debris of my room, and its last footstep was just inches from my covered face. It was just inches away. I'm sure I was shaking uncontrollably. Then suddenly the covers were ripped away from my grasp, and before me it stood, huge like a liquid fire, with a brilliance of fleshy red, translucent skin, eyes like they were torn from a giant squid with no lids, and a mouth filled with what looked like rows of changing flames where there would have been teeth. It was more than I could bear. I let out a scream, ah! As one might in the throes of death, and must have blacked out. I awoke some time later, and the creature was gone. The craft was gone. The wreckage was gone. And the dream was over. This the last time I will ever eat so much Halloween candy before bed. That's kind of a true story. Well, at least that's what mothers would like to convince you, that if you eat too much candy before bed, you're going to have nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
So the next poem is called A Darker Snow by Keith Sudray. When I was dying, Soul kissed my forehead, a delicate act with a violence portending defeat, swung around in mocking burlesque Macalibur and an obscene rain of blows shattering bone. Death's clammy lips so sticky sweet, the final blow of a kindness exposing brain. Ugh. Blood, red tulip mated the hair, light found its own vanishing point, as soil covered me in its dark grip, leaving behind everyone I had loved, disappearing into snow-covered earth to be devoured by worms and tree rot. Beetles lay eggs in my hollow chest, ugh, and an ant-infested cathedral inside my skull. How devastating. Branch to replace liquefied nerves, my body became one with this wood, and logs and branches cover my grave. Small birds and rodents make this home. People all walking past me by. I haunt this place. But they cannot see me. And you're up next, Alicia.
All right. This one is by Geraldine O'Dowd, and it is untitled. I look beyond you, it's too bright. I'm not scared of clowns, it's light. I look for the devil in the detail. My eyes, unblinking, stare straight through you. You're no clown, dawning realization. It's my tarot I held out to you. Who is the hunter now? The next is called The Jester by Ruth Doyle. I am a jester, you will always know. If you hear my sound, it's time for my demonic show. You will hear me with the sound of my bell. It's a sound straight from hell. For I love to jump and find those that are young and take them on my trip. So be wary with your kids, for they will travel through the skids and run off with me for eternity and also skip.
Okay. I'll get you to read the next one very quickly, if you don't mind.
Okay, next up is Toy Box by Sarah Wheatley. Joke's on you, Scooby-Doo not. Ha, what a fool you are, bizarre little lad at the back. Thought you could hack it, handle us, the bemused, dishonest, emotionless quacks, the real insane. Brain attack, try it. I eat your brain for breakfast, boy. Toy, toy, toy in your box. I'll wake up whilst you sleep, sip your eye drops. Drip, drop, drip, dropper falls, splish, splash, quacky duck, whack, whack, red, you fool, fall, you lad, fall asleep. No, never not. I lost that on my computer for a second. Hold on. Never not that. No, no, you fall down, drown, pound to the clown. This clown, they all fall down, soundless. Weep, wah to this clown. Play, red crayons, frown, small false hearts, flesh full of blood, plop, oops, game over, time's up, full stop. Do you want me to keep going, Mary?
Yeah, kind of. Thank you.
All right. This next one is called The Jester by Dave Warren. The jester is jolly, falling holly, molly molly, who in the neighborhood did the ollie ollie. Mountains and ways are clouded by days, so useful yet looseless. Loose lips shift cruise ships to new bliss. The mammoth was toothless, but the salmon was ruthless in its pursuit. Phone calls are on mute. Shoot your shot, make you hot. The jester's in, the mask is not. Carve yourself out of stone, why should you stop? Then you'd be alone. Shoot your shot, make you hot. The jester's in, the mask is not. Carve yourself out of stone, why should you stop? Then you'd be alone. Prone to reality, casually but gradually saying your majesty. Sorry, computer that's slow. Magically and tragically dissipating, the day's hours are so frustrating. Paging and calling, cellular service, why not come to the cellar? Are you nervous? I'm sure you heard us right, on purpose, calling your name, inviting you to play our game. Maybe our finest moments are unshamed. Shoot your shot, make you hot. The jester's in, the mask is not. Carve yourself out of stone, why should you stop? Then you'd be alone. Shoot your shot, make you hot. The jester's in, the mask is not. Carve yourself out of stone, why should you stop? Then you'd be alone.
Thank you for that. And the next poem is Untitled by Usha Shrivenson. The court jester to the fore, causing his antics quite an uproar, but feeling a despondency plagued his inner core, who makes us laugh, weep in the inner floor. All that paints and powder begin to crack, and as inner turmoil surfaces and comes on track. The next poem is titled Laughter by Marie Moldovan. Laughter is medicine. It has benefits and side effects. Overuse leads to dependency, resistance, need for large doses, different medicinal sources for the body to thrive as it attacks its own resources. Overexposure is poison, creating a need within the system for laughter at the cost of supplemented by the collective ratepayer, taxpayer, jester. Publishing laughter through mockery and self-sabotaging crockery, a true apple cider treachery. Laughter is medicine when balanced morally in the form of content maintained by a balanced self. Now, this poem specifically has a few different poems within it. If you do happen to get a copy of the ebook, you will notice that it is both placed in a couple of different font styles. The different styles are actually multiple poems. So if I remember correctly, there's actually 3 poems within that poem. I just read the main poem for today. And I will get the next one. The next poem is titled Grip This by Michael Lacey. Grip this blade with restrictions, ink blots, psychedelic extensions. Throw art college baseball, I throw hard. Throughout college baseball, I throw hard on the 1st, 2nd, and 13th. Sick man, brought my mind, drag that shit through the mud. Right behind, leave outside, 'cause I'm out of mine. And the next poem is it's untitled, by Ruth Doyle. On the town I went for the night. It was to a rave, to join my besties and dance upon a grave. But alas, I've been caught in a curse. I could not get any worse, for now I call for grace. It's 'cause I haven't got a face. The demon from hell, he came along, he cast a spell. Now I'm less than strong, so Mother Grace, come to me and give me back my identity. And I'll toss the next one to you, Alicia.
All right. The next one is called Psychedelic Freddy by Stuart Irving Marshall. I don't like art. I am art. Beauty and blood and guts and psychedelic, tragic, mind-blowing magic. The kind you wake up in the middle of the night, sweating bullets, screaming, scared dreams about running in sand, swimming in quicksand, in boiling, fiery oil, trying to be free from, get away from, cutting off, sawing off, chewing off your own limbs and hands and fingers, trying to rid yourself of the terror of your mama. Never told you or warned you about On those cold winter nights, those hot, sweltering summer days, she never prepared you for me. There's no martial arts for this, no target practice for this, no mumbo-jumbo spell, no Hogwarts wand to wish me away, no anti-hocus-pocus alakazam, no quick, slick trick to alleviate this. No falling asleep, hijacking my dreams, no amulet, no Excalibur, no hammer, simply madness, on an eternal scale, 'cause I don't like art. I don't spend time in museums or science fairs. I'm the one there waiting in the wings, behind the curtain for your curiosity to take hold, and then I become your masterpiece. And do you want to read the next one, or do you want me to? It is yours.
I'll give the next one a read.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one is titled, I Ate Too Much Cake. Sleepwalking in a petrified state, a dangerous game of subconscious chicken, chance taunting the idea of fate. A 12-year-old girl removes a deadbolt chain, a latch pops with a click. Door creaks open, as if a scene from a horror flick. Crossing the threshold, she runs full tilt down a rusty hotel hall, unaware of anything and anyone at all. Locked into a dreamlike trance, she bursts out the front door and scares off a pair of rugged rats. Stopping dead in her tracks halfway past the parking lot, not an inch more does she advance, as if held back by an invisible line, a place deemed do not cross by the mind. Hard locked into the vivid dream maze, she notices not the sleet, notices not the ice beneath her feet. Standing erect as if a statuesque construct, she, upon meeting Medusa's glaze, a momentary phase. Anyone passing would believe she a simple prop, not a girl in a parking lot next to a crop. Playing out the delusion of her deadlocked dream, the tiny silhouette screamed from the darkest regions of her lungs. A noise so wrenching the sound if heard would cause blood to curdle and mind to twist, like a pretzel to the point of speaking in tongues. Not a moment did pass upon release of the siren-like gurgle, before her body began to violently shake and quake as if in need of a priest to perform an exorcism on a soul in a state of eternal terrorism. With mouth foaming and eyes rolling to the back of her head, she releases again and again a blood-curdling sound that draws in a crowd of spectator tourists. One by one they line up, as if to sign up to witness the frightful noise of eternal breath drowned. In the distance, Hotel California can be heard from the boombox, resting on the shoulder of a young man trying to woo his lover. People stop, stare, and gasp as the girl neglected to fall and remains in a continued state of trance. The situation they continue to observe, forming around her a crescent moon curve. The little girl in the blue flowered gown plays out her scene. No one dares to intervene as she eerily, creepily chants words unknown to all. Fumbling, stumbling, heart violently panting, an old woman runs to the young girl's rescue. A selfless gesture, not expecting a thank you. Hush, little one, grandma's here, the woman sputters. Coughs, out of breath and in distress from lungs abused of cigarette, hoping to bring the girl's internal comfort. Return her to the world of living and be a loving anchor. Alas, to the grandmother's dismay, no happy ending at this point is in play. For the little girl, no calming did occur, only an attack on the speaker as if she perceived a saboteur. The little girl, shrouded in confusion, twisted the wrist meant to console the soul. Screaming and crying, the little girl, conflicted, continued to wrangle in cowboy fashion her grandmother's wrist. Forward and back she does twist, both hands attempting a chokehold as if to strangle and bring to the point death, a death unknown threat. Meep, the crowd steps back. No one dares step in the ring. No one dares rescue the grandma. No one dares to wake the sleeping child. No one dares to say a peep. Despite the physical torture, the extraordinary patient grandmother observes the situation and fishes her memory banks to find a way to unbind the child's mind and put the charade to an end. With a whisper barely heard, the grandmother asks, "What's wrong, child? What can I do to help?" Tears begin rolling as the child claims to be under a snake attack, continuing to confuse her grandmother as the threat to the girl. Continuing to confuse her grandmother as the threat. The girl goes wild, jerking the wrist in a manner normal bone would break and crack. The girl pleads for help with a desperate yelp. A new arrival to the situation points a heavy accusatory finger, claiming a distraught child be in the grasp of an abuser, neglecting the truth to prevent a fatal disaster. The new arrival was prevented to pass and directed to be the final marker on a point in the grass. Never wake a sleeping child. Never wake a sleepwalking child. For the mind you may disturb, and their soul you may curb from the return. Just sit and observe. Do not risk the soul of this child. Do not risk, do not risk. Let the child naturally wake. Don't make the mistake of risking an internal light missing by misunderstanding the situation. Just sit back and observe. As a point in the grass you best serve. Let the child purge and the soul return, whispered the crowd in monotonic sync. Wrist raw and tinged a bit of pink with a free hand, the grandmother reaches into a pocket, pulls out a vial, pops off the lid, draws a salt circle around her and the kid. With an eerie chant understood by none, she creates a portal entering the plane of the hidden. The route she did take forbidden. A risk she willing to make and take to bring the child, caught and distraught in the realm of turmoil, home. The grandmother masterfully whispers aslant in the scene, as if she a spider mother weaving a web of dreams, telling the girl she has the power to charm the snake and return it to its sleeping coil. As if a master painter, the crafty grandmother paints into the mind of the child the scene of a serpent unwinding, releasing, rising in curiosity, then bowing in awe and slinking away, returning to its cave coiling, and transforming into a cinnamon roll, sitting on shiny foil. The little girl did love her grandmother's buns. She did love her grandmother's buns. But the grandmother wondered, would the child from now on see not roll, but a snake coiled in slumber? Closing the portal, exiting the mind, the grandmother glanced at her watch and checked the time. The witching hour, the church bells sung, a reassuring song as it told and rung. For a split second, the sleeping girl did wake. Giggling, she muttered, "I'm sorry, I ate too much cake at Candy Cane Park. I ate so much my tummy did ache. I fear a sugar demon I did wake. The sugar plum fairy, a true vampire in her heart. The sugar plum fairy, a true vampire, and in her heart I did drive a stake, which turned into a snake. I'm sorry, I ate too much cake." Her pulse beating at an alarming rate, she hit the pavement in a coma state. Full of question, the crowd began to dissipate. Scooping up the unconscious child, the grandmother returned to the hotel room. She placed her in the bed and tucked her tightly in. Taking note of the full moon, she barricaded the door with a dresser and chair, as if to prevent another scare. And I'll throw the next one to you, Alicia.
All right. That was quite the tale. This next one is called The by Stuart Irving Marshall. 10 million years ago, there lived a strange creature. No one knew what it was, not even the creature itself. It wasn't that big, and it didn't have a lot of flesh on its body. If fact be told, it didn't really have a body per se, just a shrumpy grayscale skeleton, an orange head, big red lips, bloodshot bulging spheres for eyes, and a nose like a downward-pointing arrow, with obviously no nostrils to be found. 1 million more years went by, with the creature still trying to figure out what it was. In all that time, it never made a sound, and its eyes always looked like they were about to suddenly pop out of its head to reveal who knows what, but never did. 1.5 million more years went by, and more of these creatures started appearing out of nowhere. Same size, same large orange head, red lips, bulging eyes, and arrow nose with no nostrils. The difference was, they made strange noises that sounded like they didn't hear the question quite right. All they would mutter was, hmm, all day and all night, through rain and snow and volcanic eruptions and floods and geographic plate shifting. He was amazed, first because he had lived more than 10 million years, then because he knew what time was, and then surprised that there was anything around but him and the big creepy dinosaurs he always had to run from. Anyhow, the days and the centuries and the millennia went by, and suddenly he found himself on an island with like 1 million of these other creatures that looked like him. He was a shy creature, but wanted to somehow approach another creature to try to make friends with it, whatever that meant. It muttered to no one in particular. The other similar creature replied. This went on for several years until they somehow evolved to muttering in smaller fonts and less epilepsies. Neither one understood the other. It sounded like a comedy routine after a while, and since no one knew what that was, neither either laughed or was disturbed about it in the least. And from that day onward, and after their demise, along with the dinosaurs, by that giant meteor, the legend of the creatures called the grew to be the strangest prehistoric occurrence in history. That was very interesting. All right. Next is Untitled by Ruth Doyle. I am the demon of the fire. I am here to fulfill your heart's desire. All you have to do is sing, and all your wishes I will bring. So remember, you have to be quick, or I will cast a trick, which means that you will try and sing, or maybe even hum, but alas, inside your mouth it will all go quite numb. So sing your song or go, or you will get a demonic show.
All right, that was the good one. Thank you, Ruth. I just wanted to mention that the poem "I Ate Too Much Cake," Alicia said, I'll let you read yours. That was actually my poem, so I just want to reiterate that. The next poem is "Screaming Brown," a Screaming Picket by Stuart Irving Marshall. The music is loud, too loud for ears to hear. Here in hell, the sounds of lies. In dissonant tones, bones ratting like masquerades. Down, down beats, shuffling feet, gravel, meeting brimstone. Meaning, moaning, groaning, drones. Steps too slow, always too slow. Slow motion till burning. Screaming brown, screaming picket. The old song's gone minus the screams appropriate for the times. Crackling fires, and the once horrid smell of memories so evil. The darkness for the light refused, abused, the nostrils lost to the hint of the malevolent scent. Retroactive future shock. Putrefaction, delayed reaction, tortured, insane refrain, and bring back the pain again and again. Everybody dance now. The music is loud now. The fallen proud, patent feet. The beat rising, so loud it grows. New Year's, to be blunt, to be burnt away from screams anew. And I will read the next two. The next poem is titled Hunger by Sarah Wheatley. Carnivorous, I think I'll eat the liver first. Oops! It bursts. Sprayed. But hey, my soul was thirsty anyway. And the next poem is Untitled by Geraldine O'Dowd. My dad before I old enough to go trick-or-treating. Oh, I think we did this one already, so I'll skip that one. Yay. So the next poem I will read is Demonic. That one is by Sarah Wheatley. Demonic dear, my neck is ready for you, has been since birth. Yet you seem to thirst deep waters of the earth. What's worse, living with sin or never knowing? See, the apple drops within. Your natural worm climbs out, sees life abound by virtue. Good. The fun lives below the ground. Try it out. Join me. Life's good. Denounced. Can't drown when you're below water. And I'll throw the next one to you, Alicia.
All right, this next one is Untitled by Jerry Pendergast. Clouds parting like stage curtains, expanding shadows that touch on intensely lit sidewalk, sunburst blinking eyes, unfamiliar forms appear quickly, fade. And next one is also untitled, and it is by Usha N. Srinivasan. The ghouls of yesterday remembered, as sense and sensibility from your cerebral sphere dismembered, as ghostly sepulchres shocking your psyche, goblins, gnomes, and witches abound, zestily doing the Halloween rounds, diet plans all gone awry, a departure from the routine and dreary, till with the sounds and noises we get weary, time to break off and to bed earl. And next one is also by Usha N. Srinivasan, entitled As You Embark on an Enterprise and Win a Much-Coveted Prize, as the moon rises over the final October skies, the sun will again, in the first day of November, rise.
Okay. I'll get the next one.
Okay.
Okay, so the next poem is titled Halloween Scene by Alistair T.S.E. Allen. The brave young will seek out strangers to gross gifts. Doorbells will make the elderly squirm and shift. Witches, monsters, and hobgoblins will gather. Sugar highs will work kids up into lather. Huddling cheapskates won't feel safe in silent homes, completely surrounded by gluttonous gnomes. Armed with rotten eggs and much more toilet paper, kids will mark off houses of candy traders. At midnight, parents will raid kids' hidden swag. In mourning, they'll swear they never stole from the bag. Organic diets will fall by the wayside. Sweet temptations upset thrones of vegan pride. How often does that actually happen? You know what I mean? Kids go out, do all the work. Well, parents do the work too, because a lot of times they have to escort their children on Halloween. But how often does that happen, that they go and raid the candy stash when the children aren't looking? I know I used to.
I have. Yep.
And the next one is titled, actually it's untitled, by Lucas Allen Deach. I am the Halloween man and face, deceiving rust and trails, pulled by the manicured children, and a laugh chipped from ghosts. And I'll let you read the final poem.
Okay, this last one is called Candy for Collection by Marie D. Moldovan. You warned me of stranger danger, told me don't take candy from a stranger, but on Halloween you dress me up like an earth queen, hand me a mask, send me out and about to rap upon many a stranger's door with but one task, candy collection. Confusing in my mind prelection about taking candy from a stranger, which poses the question, what if the person's house was a creepy white van? Do I rap on the door and request candy for collection?
Yeah, I kind of had quite
Good
a bit
things to consider.
There's a lot of things to consider. I had a bit of humor when I was writing that one. I was like, yeah, rap on the white van that says candy, free candy here. You know, what if I knock on the rap on the door of the van and be like, oh, gone. Van takes off. Screaming child. Yeah, I had humor writing that one. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the Halloween edition. And before we go, I just want to read the quote at the end of the book as our final goodbye. Move your thoughts from your head to your heart and let go of the "I'm not good enough" statements. Understand that you are good enough. Even the greatest minds in history experience moments of doubt, and yet we call them the greatest minds. So just keep on keeping on because you're worth more than you know. And that's the end. Thank you very much. We love you very much. Have a happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.